What's up, everybody? Pat Biondi here with the Elevate Movement Podcast, National Sports Association. Today I'll be talking with a former teammate of mine, Tony Kemp. Got drafted by the Houston Astros, was most currently with the Oakland A's. Tony was an All-American at Vanderbilt, SEC Player of the Year, done a lot of great things on the field, a lot of great things off the field. The Roberto Clemente Award winner, which is given to the most active member of an organization in the community. So Tony's been doing a lot of awesome stuff off the field, planting trees, educating people on race and different backgrounds, and just opening up that conversation. And Tony was one of my favorite teammates to play with, just one of the best human beings I've been around, a genuine passion and energy that is just infectious. And to this day, I still appreciate the time we got to play together and really enjoyed catching up with him today. So I hope you guys enjoyed the conversation. You back in Nashville?
Yeah, man. What do you got?
I'm chilling, man, living life in Michigan. Getting
Hey,
getting
that,
used to the cold weather, the 45 and rainy. It's actually really nice today. But,
yeah,
just living life.
grind season, baby.
Yes, sir. How you enjoying the off season? What have you been up to?
Dude, I'm honestly, so we leave for Mexico for another wedding on Saturday. Um, and then other than that, man, getting ready for this baby.
I know. Congratulations. Do you know if it's a boy
Thanks.
or a girl yet? Or are you guys waiting?
Now we're waiting.
Okay. I
Yeah.
got you.
So
That's
yeah, bro,
exciting, man.
we're excited, man. How are you?
I'm doing great. Just doing lessons, coaching, playing a bunch of music, and enjoying life.
Heck yeah, dude. Love that.
Hold on one second. I got it. Yeah.
Let's see if I
Recording in progress.
can.
All right, TK. So let's get into it, man. I know you don't have a ton of time.
It's all good.
Um,
Yeah, sorry, I probably should have told you that earlier, but
it's fine. We're good. Hey, so for you growing up, was baseball what you always wanted to play? Did you play other sports? How did you kind of fall in love with the game?
yeah, so I'm the youngest of three kids, and my brother was kind of like the ringleader in all the sports. He was the middle child and played baseball because he played baseball, played basketball because he played basketball, kind of like those things. But man, started playing baseball probably first when I was 4, and then got into basketball when I was like 6, and then football got into the mix when I was probably in 4th grade because my parents, my mom didn't want me to play football because of, the guys were bigger. I was, small stature. And, finally started played all three sports until I was a sophomore in high school. And then our basketball coach was like, you're going to have to choose between baseball and basketball. You're missing too many workouts. I'm like, okay, dude. But I guess it was a blessing in disguise because, it gave me time to between baseball or football, had basketball season off and then rolled into baseball. So it was meant to be.
I got you. So for you, what was the recruiting process like? Did it start early on or in high school? Was it something that happened later?
Yeah. So, I mean, I only got 2 college scholarship offers. Like it wasn't anything crazy. But for me, it was pretty much started my junior year, I would say. I guess some schools would see like MTSU, some local schools saw me like, I had like some like showcases and stuff through summer ball. But other than that, man, it was kind of I committed to East Carolina. I think it was like, can't even remember when that was. It was my junior year. I committed to East Carolina, and then Vandy came and offered me, and I was like, man, like that's, it's right down the road. East Carolina is like 8 hours away. And then I decommitted. I still hate telling that story to this day because I feel like, I want to be like a man of my word, and decommitting was tough. And, now looking back on it, obviously it worked out for the better. But funny story is I was looking back when I was in high school, and the outfield at East Carolina was going to be Mike Trout, Jackie Bradley Jr., and myself. And then we all ended up going different places.
Man, so East
So that's
Carolina, They had it
That's
good, and then
probably
everybody left.
yeah, that's probably why the coach hasn't called me back yet.
That's funny. That's tough because obviously at the time you went there, though, Vanderbilt's in super regionals. Like they're, I don't know if
Yeah,
they made the College World Series yet. You guys were the first team to make it there, right?
yeah. So I remember sitting on my couch my senior year, like wishing against Vandy because I wanted to be a part of the first team that went to the World Series. So it was like actually I was rooting against the guys because they were in super regional playing against Florida State, and they ended up losing. But um, it's funny. I remember sitting there and I was like, I hope that I want them to do good, but I don't want them to go to the World Series because I want to be a part of the first team that did it. And then we did the next year, but the recruitment process was kind of tough, man. I mean, I wish I could go back and do it again and just like enjoy it more. I always tell kids, enjoy the process more because like, this is like some of the best times in your life. And you sometimes get so wrapped up into it's this huge decision that you forget to like enjoy it.
Yeah, especially in the context of, you've played professional baseball for a long time now. In the business side of that, like this is the time when you're just playing, you're actually a part of a team and get to like have that whole environment.
I wish I could live it over again. Yeah, the business side, you get into pro ball and it's all about like investment pieces and who did I invest in, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I miss like that purity, that innocence of the game, you know what I mean?
It's
That like
almost, it's like watching the playoffs now. I was talking to my dad about this the other day. It's like that's the only time you really see it is like when it gets playoff baseball and it's just like time to win again. And you see that
doesn't
like
matter.
that raw emotion.
It is. Stats don't matter. No one's really caring about getting paid. It's just all about like winning that winning the shit, man.
Yeah. So for you at
Seriously.
Vandy, like obviously Vanderbilt's a huge baseball school, SEC baseball country. What was that experience like playing at Vanderbilt? And then I want to talk to you too, just about like what Vanderbilt does so well because they have so many guys turning into pro ball, doing extremely well in pro ball.
Dude, eye-opening. I mean, going from Centennial High School right down the road to Vanderbilt, all of a sudden you're getting baseball aside, like you're getting inserted into like some of the smartest brains in all around the world, internationally. Valedictorians of everyone's class. It was a little bit intimidating at first because you didn't want to be that dumb athlete that stood up and said a stupid question, but you learn to adapt and you learn to iron sharpens iron, I feel like. And so like in the classroom, Corbin always said, you can't play on the baseball field unless you take care of what's going on across the street, which meaning like academics. So my freshman year, man, I went into summer school. So I took 6 hours in June and July. And then leading up into August is when I started school. So I had 6 hours going into my freshman year. And that fall was just eye opening. That first meeting was like 3.5, 4 hours with the team. And pretty much he just explains in the classroom, like, I don't care if you're an All-American. I don't care if you're a top 100 prospect, like the best people are going to play on the field. And, for me, I felt like that was a big opportunity because I wasn't a top 100 prospect. And I feel like I was more of cast in the shadows. You know what I mean? Like there was a lot of guys that were better than me, I felt like, but we'll get into this whole mental side later, but I feel like mentally, like I could, hang with anybody. And, we talked about that stuff even in the Cape, but being at Vanderbilt, man, I mean, what they do so well, dude, is just Corbin just takes everyone's ego and just throws it out the window. And, no one's higher than anyone else. Everyone has an equal value going into the field. And you earn whatever you're working for. And he just teaches kids that it's not about themselves anymore, and it's hard when you're having a kid that come in and he's a perfect game All-American, and then all of a sudden you see he doesn't even care about that status anymore. He just cares about winning. And so he takes what he teaches in that classroom. Like all the guys still talk about the notebooks that we still have. Everybody carries a notebook each year, and it doesn't even talk about baseball. It's all about like, what can you do to be a better person? How can you be a better man? How can you manage your time better in this certain aspect of your life? And so it's those things that you take care of. And then all of a sudden baseball has just become second nature.
So for you, you had a huge freshman year. coming out of high school, not being highly recruited, do you feel like you just got overlooked? We should probably tell people that might not know you're what, 5'7", 5'8"?
6'5'7", yeah.
So
Oh,
undersized, obviously, in the game. Maybe
yeah.
that's why we got along so well. But do
We
you,
knew, baby.
yeah, do you feel like you improved a ton as a player from junior, senior year of high school to that freshman year, or do you feel like you always kind of always performed, just got overlooked?
Yeah, I feel like, we had those conversations where we felt like we could play with anyone when we were up in the Cape. And um, that's even today, just telling kids like, hey, it doesn't matter how big you are. It just matters about that talent that gets on the field. Like you could be 5'7", but you play like you're 6'4" when you get on that field. It's like that baseball IQ, that baseball presence. But, I feel like I was very overlooked. I still tell Coach Corbin to this day, thank you for giving me a chance. I don't know where I would be without him, but like you said, big freshman year, hit 330. We went to the College World Series for the first time. And then the next year, man, I just put so much pressure on myself, like, because I felt like I had to be the guy, and that was just not the way to go about it. Hit 260, had a terrible sophomore year, changed my stance, went up to the Cape, hit behind some kid named Patrick Biondi who hit 400. No big deal. But yeah, dude, just I I felt like that summer, once we went up against the best competition in the country, I knew I was like, okay, if we can do it up here, then I know I can translate it into this next season and to beyond.
Yeah, and then you came back your junior year, SEC Player of the Year, All American. You
Yeah.
guys went to the College World Series again junior year.
No,
There you
no.
go.
The next year they won the World Series,
I
but
knew they won the year after you guys left.
we went 26-3 in the SEC, which is a record to this day. Um, and we lost to Louisville back-to-back games in the Super Regionals that we hosted. One-run games, I think. And man, it was just like baseball. It was just not meant to be, man. It was like we were meant to be the building blocks to get them to the. I don't even know. It's frustrating to this day still. I'm like, what is? Yeah, but
Nah, I get it.
Louisville, yeah, you understand. Louisville beat us, and they won the World Series the next year. So yeah, Vanderbilt is just continually just guys after guys, and I still train there every offseason. So
Yeah, no, I
yeah.
feel like that's one of the cool things that they do. Like I stayed with you that one off season, and you had a bunch of guys working out, like a pro locker room that guys come back to. I feel like that's got to be great for the environment of that college team too, to be around you guys.
Yeah, man. Just think about if you're a college coach and you got guys coming back from the big leagues working out, you're a 18, 19-year-old kid looking at these guys come in, train, go about their business. You even can sit in and watch them hit, pick their brain. So the guys for me, I remember Pedro Alvarez, would come into the cage and we would talk hitting for hours. And, I was still in college and I looked up to that kid that guy at the time. And, kind of like as a trickle down effect, now the next wave comes in and you talk to the next wave. And, I think that's the unique thing that gets passed down to each generation or each, team that comes through there, man. It's special.
No doubt. So for
No doubt.
you, what do you feel like? I want to stick on Vanderbilt a little bit more. Two things. One, I feel like you, Yaz, Zomac, Vanderbilt guys were some of the only guys that really loved their coach. Like I feel like that's one of the interesting things that happens in college is you're playing with all these guys, everyone's complaining. And it seemed like all the Vanderbilt guys are like, no, we love it there. Like we love the environment, we love everything about it. Not to say, you
I
still
understand.
every coach has their quirks and you kind of make fun of them and stuff, but you guys genuinely liked being there. So what do you feel like you took away the most from Vanderbilt? Was it the mentality stuff, like the classroom stuff you're talking about? Was it skill stuff or approach stuff? Like what did you grow in the most when you were at Vanderbilt?
Man, I still tell people to this day I grew so much. Like, I applaud guys who go from from the high school to pro ball. I applaud those guys. I was not ready. I think at Vandy, I took the mentality, the mental side of the game. It's not all physical, man. I always say to this day, the game is 90% mental. And, even in the classroom, even in the notebook, I remember one thing that I always wrote down was, no one can measure what's between your brain or between your ears. And that was one thing that I always took with me because, you might be able to throw harder than me, run faster than me, but at the end of the day, your mental capacity is something that's going to carry you until levels that you don't even know are possible. And I think Coach Corbin does such a great job is, he tells guys, you can be the most physically talented, but it doesn't, that's not going to get you to the big leagues. That's not going to, and so we were like, what's going to get us to the next step? He's like, your mental toughness is going to get you to the next step. And, and being 19, 20, 21 years old, you don't really understand what he's talking about until you get the pro ball and you're like, oh, this grind. You're like, yeah, you're like, oh, this grind. So, it's, that's when you start struggling really hard for the first time, like in a professional setting. And, where are you going to go from there? Your thoughts are so powerful that, things can start to spiral and stuff. And so he always had us reading books about, the mental game of baseball, the mental side of baseball. And, I would say that's the one thing that I think, really took myself and my game to the next level is just mental toughness.
Can you talk a little bit more tangibly about that? So like either a book that really stood out to you or something that you practice now. So like one of the things I was going to ask you about, maybe this will tie in, is do you have a type of either meditation, prayer, visualization practice? And can you just kind of like break that down in a little bit more tangible form?
Sure, dude. No, I'm bringing this up right now. I don't know if you can't see it on the screen. It's called a Restoic.
Yep.
So it's actually this app that came out. I got introduced to it. I was actually talking with the owner about it. Man, it's like one of the coolest apps I've ever been introduced to. I'm gonna send it to you when we're done here, but
Yeah, I'm
pretty
writing it
much
down.
what it had, yeah, pretty much what it has is it has all these unique exercises. So it's like positive affirmations, and the number one thing for me is self-talk. So I talk to myself all the time. You got to gas yourself up no matter what is going on. You got to just tell yourself. There's this one clip of McCutcheon. He's like, I'm the best. I'm the best. I'm the best. And it's like, he might not be the best, but I mean, like this guy's NL MVP. He's one of the best baseball players that has, stepped on a field. This app, it goes through positive self-talk affirmations. It goes through how you can overcome adversity, like mental imagery. So like already visualizing yourself doing well before the game has even started, which is one of my favorite things. Another thing it does is it goes through guided focus of when things don't go your way, how can you track your mind back into a positive mindset when you just make an error, or how do you go to the next play? Dude, this app is like, so I've actually, and it has meditation, your breath work, has all these things. And dude, I open this app once a day. Like I'm at the field, I'm getting ready. I'm in the gym before I go to the game. So I put this on, I'm stretching, and it's literally telling me to replay the best memories you have throughout the season. So as I keep doing this, as I'm on the treadmill, I'm visually seeing what I've already done in the past and what I'm going to do next, if that makes sense, like on the treadmill. It's hard to explain, but if you
can I ask a question like off of that?
yeah,
So when
yeah.
you're doing that visualization, is it just like a movie you're watching, or is it deeper than that? Like, is it something where, let's say, you're in Oakland, you're going through your season and you're going back to a game where you get a big late inning hit, do you like literally start to tap into that feeling of like that adrenaline?
Yes. So throughout the app, it says what, so it's literally like through my lens, right? And it's go back and what are the feelings? How loud is the crowd? What are your cleats feel like when they get dug into the ground after that moment? And so as I feel that moment, I am visually feeling how I'm going to get back to that moment in this game, in this next game that I'm about to come up to. And I think for me, I'm such a visual person. Like, we do scouting reports and stuff like that. And it doesn't really mean anything to me. I need to see video. I need to see shape of the slider. I need to see shape of the changeup. Does this heater have late ride? Little things like that. So I'm such a visual person that is the biggest part that I feel like kind of got me to the next level, is just like that visual imagery.
Yeah,
And
connecting all your senses.
I'll send you this app. I'll give you the login and stuff so you can kind of play through it and stuff. But I think it's going to be kind of like the next thing of like what athletes are like, go into. And you'll see that it's already in some colleges, but I think, Vandy might tap into it next.
I got you. Yeah, I haven't seen that app, but I've got into reading a lot of books that are exactly what you're talking about. And it's crazy, dude, when you start to have that visualization too of like a future thing that you're trying to do and it happens, like that feeling is like,
Dude, that feeling is like, whew, it just gives you chills. And
yeah,
I think, once more people tap into it, you'll kind of understand, everyone's kind of different, and you'll kind of play with it, and you'll kind of understand, what that feels like, that feeling of the chills that you get, the adrenaline, and that, is, that's why you don't sleep. Sometimes after games, I can't even sleep because you know how it is, your brain is still wired and you're thinking about what I could have done better. And some of the books that I read is The Power of Now, just kind of being in the now, not really, thinking about what you the now, just the now, present. And that book is huge. Um, I just got done. I just got done reading Gary Sheffield's book called Inside Power,
okay.
which is he kind of talks about the calmness that Terry Pendleton had, old time baseball player. Um, that book actually opened my eyes a lot because I see like the calmness, if I could describe it, would be Marcus Simeon. Marcus Simeon is a guy that I played with that you go see him, there's no emotion to this guy. He's calm all the time. He goes out and plays a game, hits freaking 45 home runs, and he just does. And I would always ask him when I was playing with him, it's like, man, like, how do you deal with like the mental side of the game? And he would just say, man, like, it's a game of failure. Like, we're playing in the game of failure at the highest level. Like, you're a human. Like, you're gonna mess up, but you've always been good. So just trust yourself. And he always had that calmness that Gary Sheffield talks about having in the book. And that's one thing that I want to try to take to my game for next year.
I actually played with him a couple summers before we played together.
Yeah,
I haven't talked to him in a little while, but he's an awesome dude. I got to reach out to him. What a
he is
monster year.
monster year. Yeah, even talking with them in Toronto and that home run that he hit to beat us, man, is just like, the baseball gods, man, they're real. Shoot,
The game knows.
the game
That's what
knows, dude.
Backus used to always say. I'm sure Corbin probably says it too.
Oh, the game knows. The game knows, man. So you can't cheat the grind.
Hey, so for you, we're talking a little bit about the mental side of it. So let's hang here for another second before we get into the mechanical side of things. So for you playing in the major leagues, playing in front of a lot of people, the attention, the pressure, all that different stuff, what what do you do to be able to have that calmness and be able to play with freedom in a situation where there's a lot of externals going on? It's easy to put a lot of pressure on yourself to try to stay where you're at, to try to get to the big leagues, whatever the case may be. How are you able to kind of trim that down and just play the game?
Yeah. All right. That is a great question. 1 second. So I've had this notebook for about 3 years now, and it's kind of like what I take from books each year and like the mindset of what you are talking about right there. And one thing that I always go back to is pressure is a privilege. And it's in this book and we talk about it. And when you get into the game, like the crowd almost is not even there. And you're like, okay, come on, you can hear the people. But bro, it's almost like you get that tunnel vision of I'm just going out there and I'm having fun. I'm playing baseball. Like this year, I'd always go back to people would always laugh at me, and I would always say, hey, leave everything else out the door. We're playing summer baseball right now. Like we're playing summer league baseball, and people always be like, why do you say that? And bro, like you have to think about it. When we were in the Cape, we weren't thinking about mechanics. We weren't thinking about, you know, we were thinking about having fun and playing baseball and like winning. Like There was no like this guy throws this guy throws this. There were no scouting reports. You just went out and played. You didn't know what pitcher had going up to the plate. You kind of went up there and you were just adjusting to each pitch, each at bat.
And then we would talk
And
about it. But yeah, you're right though. Like this is actually something I've thought about lately too. When I watched you a few times this year, I felt like I saw that energy in you again. Like when we played together, man, all joking aside, not gassing you up, you were one of my favorite teammates because of just your demeanor and the energy you had. And I felt like that was contagious. Like that helped me have fun and just play the game. And sometimes it, especially in pro ball, it gets hard to do that when everything's about like putting numbers up and all that stuff. And so I think you're right, man. There's something special about getting to know your teammates and being able to have fun playing the game again, you know?
and it's so hard to obviously you're one of my favorite teammates too. And I think me and you had that we were really good friends, but we also had that like underlying like we wanted to be better than each other, right? Like, and I think that's how we upped our game and why we did so well is because you know, even with Yaz, like we're good friends, but we have that like underlying I want to be better than you. And yeah, dude, it's just like one of those things to where like I wish I wish I could explain to these people how like that feeling. Like I wish I could just take that feeling and just like put it on the screen.
So let's say you're at the plate, you swing at 0-1 back foot slider or 0-0
Mm-hmm.
back foot slider. It's 0-1 now.
Yeah.
How do you apply what we were talking about earlier? So, like, what's your process to not start overthinking and worrying about that, but be able to maintain what you're trying to do?
Next pitch.
And you just stay
Oh,
locked in. So, like, let's tie this into approach right now. Like, for you, um, some guys are really open to talk about this. Some guys are a little bit more secretive about it. Is it for you like I'm looking for a fast something out over the middle of the plate and I'm trying to take my best swing? Like, what's your approach?
man, my approach, you know, and talking with older guys like Jed Lowry and guys like that, man, my approach is never it's never really changed, man. It's always, you know, look for a fastball, adjust off speed. And I feel like, you know, you can hit 100 and then that thing starts breaking, you can hit 89. And I think, you know, there used to be, I mean, people know now, you know, I really didn't start swinging at that first pitch for a long time. And, you know, people would just flip a curveball in there. And, you know, I would say, okay, you know, that's fine. I'll be 0-1, but you want to throw that fastball at some point, and I'm not going to be late. And that's always just been my approach. And say you don't land that 0-0 curveball, then it's 1-0. And then I'm in the advantage account. And then say if you want to nibble, then it's 2-0. And then you really have to throw, then you really want to groove something in there. And I've always been that guy that, you know, you really don't want me on the bases. So, um, you know, in I feel like I'm a tough out. So you kind of want to get me out of the box as fast as you can. But then that's where that patient approach comes into play too, with knowing the game. You know, how many pitches did the pitcher throw last inning? You know, am I leading off an inning? You know, a lot goes into that approach when you're going up to that plate. So I just always feel like, man, if you're ready for 99, you're ready for 98, and he flips a 78-mile-an-hour curveball in there, you're ready for everything.
Yeah, that's something we talk about too a lot with our hitters, and it's crazy, man, because as much as you talk about hunting the fastball and just like being aggressive in the middle of the plate, you know too as a hitter, like inevitably there's times where you kind of get away from that a little bit, where you start thinking about like, they might come with this here, and then you're off the fastball, usually off the off speed pitch too, you know.
Yeah, there's a line I have in my book. It's never get off the heater.
Do you ever
Never.
do you know who Steve Springer is?
Oh yeah, hit ball hard, you win, baby.
I love his mentality too, on hunting the heater. Like if you can't hit the fastball, you can't play this game.
You can't. And you know, I always say hit ball hard, you win. It's a fact, man. I don't when I go into the season, I don't say I want to hit this. I don't want to say I want my average to be this because, you know, the minute that is not looking good is the minute that you start to press.
Yeah, you start feeling it for
You
sure.
start feeling it. And so, you know, my brother's like, man, it's crazy that you go into each season and you don't even have goals. I'm like, that's not it. My goal each day is to have quality at bats. If I go into each day and I have 3 to 4 quality at bats, I've already won.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And those quality at bats, those hard hits will turn into hits at some point. You'll get your broken bat singles every now and then. You know what I mean? Like it will come back around. I just think that when I go into each day, my goal is to have a good at bat, not to throw any at bats away. Go up to the plate, be a tough out, give no at bats away, and the rest are going to take care of itself. If you go away with quality at bats after quality at bats, you're going to look back at the end of the season and you're going to be right where you need to be.
Do you have any tangible goals that you set out going into a season? Like, I want to make an all-star team, or I want to do whatever, or is it all process based?
Yeah, I mean, see, that's like obviously in the back of your head. Yeah, I want to make the all-star game. Yeah, I want to be an all-star, but like I I don't look down into the future too much, man. And that's like the whole book of like the power of now is living in the present. Is I just want to do the best that I can do at this present moment. I can't it I used to look down and say, "Hey, I want to be this at the end of the year. I want to have this at the end of the year." And I'm just not that type of guy. I just figured, "Hey, you've played with me. I'm just like a loose cannon, kind of just like want to have fun, but take day by day by day, pitch by pitch." And I think that's the easiest thing to do because if all of my energy is concentrated on that one pitch and not thinking about making an all-star team 2 months, 3 months down the road, that all my energy is focused on that.
The other stuff happens on its own. How
Yeah.
much time do you got right now? Because I want to get into like plus one effect and what you're doing with the tree planting initiative, but I want to talk a little bit of mechanics. We have like 10, 15 minutes. What do we got?
Yeah, I got 10 minutes. Yeah, I got 10 minutes. We're cool.
Okay. So let's talk.
Let's do mechanics first.
Yeah, let's talk about that really quick. So do you feel like your swing changed a lot from when you were at Vanderbilt to now? And maybe what are a couple of things, either drills or just a couple of things that you focus on a lot that help you?
A big thing for me is, I remember that two-hand finish that I was doing in the Cape. Like I was big on that two-hand finish. I can't
Me
do
too.
it now. I do it sometimes, but it was like cutting me off weirdly. But as far as like drills for me, I got into the low T. I'll send you all this stuff when we're done here, but the low T is pretty much like it's literally like right above your shin. And what this does is it helps me drive down into the zone. So everything's here. So it's like if this tee is set up low and away, like obviously I want to hit over the shortstop's head, or I just want to have like a backspin line drive to the back of the cage. Like this tee is not like a normal tee. Like it's literally maybe a couple feet off the ground, and that really helps me drive into the zone. I did that a lot this year and last year, which I feel like helped me hit balls back through the middle hard, up to the shortstop way hard. And then I got incorporated to this thing called this heavy bat, and it's 60. It's a 60-ounce bat, and you do side flips from the side. And what you want to do is the flips from the side. You want to create with your body. You want to create like levelness through the zone, and it creates a long bat through the zone. I'll send you some videos on this later too. But as I was working with that, I found I was able to be in the zone longer because sometimes I get in and out of the zone really fast. I roll over balls, I pop up balls to left. And what this heavy bat does is it allows, because I always heard, hey, use your hands. You have good hands. You have good hands. Well, for me, I need to use my body, and I need to think about dude, I don't even think about my hands, because whatever your body does and whatever your eyes are telling you to do, your hands are gonna meet it. It's hand-eye coordination. So I started doing this heavy bat from the side. It allowed me to be through the zone longer. And then I did front flips, but not just front flips to where you're doing it lazily. It's actually front flips in like really focusing on like the positive part of the baseball. So like really going like through the baseball, like this way and up the middle, and no rollovers. And I got away from doing flips for a long time because it was creating me to be lazy, because I would see the ball, I would get the flip, and then I would be in and out of the zone. But now I'm like understanding there's a difference between doing flips lazily, and there's doing flips with like a plan.
Yeah.
And dude, I'm like 29 years old and I'm just now realizing this. And so front flips, and then after that I do overhand hard. So it's pretty much from like, I don't know, I'd say 40-30 feet away, but it kind of gives that like feel that the pitcher is closer to you. And
Perceive
it's not that you're,
velocity.
yeah, it's not that you're rushing through your swing, but it's pretty much like you want to get your foot down and make sure that you're based in a good position as the ball's coming into the hitting zone. And dude, that's literally all I do.
Yeah, I remember talking. I think you picked some of that up from when you were with the Astros, the heavy bat stuff, especially.
Jeff Albert.
Yep. Um, and it's crazy, man, because there's different feels for everybody, right? Like some guys, if they think body, they're going to be front shoulder, like flying open and getting in trouble. It seems
Yeah.
like I think we were probably taught very similarly growing up, like get down through the baseball, like all hands.
Yeah.
And so I think we both probably needed that blend of letting our body take over a little bit and just like
Yeah.
getting on plane a little bit earlier, like you're talking about. But
Yes.
it's funny though, because you, in talking about the low tee, it sounds like you're still kind of thinking about like hands above the baseball, like working down through. Is
Yes.
there a
Yeah.
reason why you are really focused on like being above the ball, working down through it, especially middle away?
So now that is because, with these pitchers, I know you were all are familiar with all that sticky stuff, but man, like these fastballs were having so much life. Like people were just fouling balls off underneath and, fouling, like flying out to outfield and stuff. So like with that low tee, like how you said, like working on that positive part of the baseball, and like guys like us, like I'm not going up there trying to hit a home run. I'm trying to hit a low line drive somewhere. You know what I mean? Get on base. And with that low tee is what it incorporates. And I think you can get it for like $40 online somewhere. But yeah, that's what really incorporated like I feel like that is the levelness of swing that got me to where I needed to be. And a lot of guys don't really think how I think. Like I think swing down.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of guys are like, oh yeah, you're gonna chop the ball into the ground. It's like, nah, like that's not what your body is going to do.
Yeah, we talk about that a lot. Like the thought isn't really important. It's what the thought produces. So like you hear guys before we were playing, everybody talked hands down. Ortiz, all those guys, A-Rod talk hands down to the ball. If you watch their swing, it wasn't happening. But that feel created that levelness where if they were trying to launch balls, they would start getting long, lose the barrel behind them, that type of thing.
That type of thing, yeah. And like I think swing down because it's not that you're chopping wood, but it creates that levelness that it's almost like it's almost like over exaggerating, pretty much is what it is. The ball comes in, I'm thinking about the positive part of the baseball, which the positive part is like the top. The positive part is the top, the
So,
minus is the bottom.
okay. I
So
actually haven't heard that.
okay, yeah. So that's something that we're taught at Vandy. Like you have a baseball and you split it in half, and then the top is the positive, the bottom is the negative.
So would you say a majority of your teammates are attacking the negative part of the ball?
I mean, yeah, like that's like the whole launch angle age, right? But that's just not who I am as a hitter.
Well, I think that's the thing too for 95% of high school guys right now. They're not that player either. You know what I mean? So like going up and trying to launch balls isn't what's going to produce the best result. And like the home runs happen when you square balls up the right way, especially
Yeah,
if you're
it's
not like a power guy, you
yeah,
know?
hit it, like home runs are a product of just a good swing.
Hmm.
And um, when you're in situations where like a sack fly situation run on third less than two, yeah, I might look at the negative part of the baseball and try to like put something in the outfield. But other than that, man, I'm working on that positive part of the baseball.
I got you. Okay, so let's talk about this really quick and then let you get out of here. So, um, Roberto Clemente Award winner this year with Oakland. Congratulations, man. That's a
Okay.
pretty cool honor. Um, Talk to me about the tree planting initiative for every stolen base. Was it every stolen base and every
Extra base hit.
extra base
Yeah.
hit? Okay.
Planting
Um,
planting 100 trees, man. Yeah, dude, I just got hooked up with this initiative. Chris Dickerson, we were talking, and man, I thought it was just a cool way to get like, help the earth, and it's kind of killed two birds with one stone. And man, it was cool. We ended up planting a lot of trees. I think it was like over 9,000 trees or something like that. So yeah, it was just one of those initiatives where, I feel like you would have done the same thing. It's just kind of like got the fans into it too. You have something to look forward to. He steals a base and he has, he's planting all these trees. So, and plus I'm in this huge like recycling project with Players for the Planet too. So, it was kind of like all encompassed into one. So I thought it was a pretty cool thing.
That's awesome. No, that is really cool. And so the other side of it, the plus one effect, and this could be a long conversation, so we'll probably just kind of keep
That's
it
all
with
good.
the surface level of what you were doing
Yeah.
and what the objective was. Can you just talk to me about what the plus one effect was, what led you to enact it, and kind of what your goals are with it moving forward?
Yeah, man. So obviously it happened when George Floyd murder last year, and I had some more time on my hands and was talking with my uncle. Plus one effect got spurred up, and it was kind of just like have a positive conversation with someone about race, and but have it in a level headedness of conversation. Not to where it's you're belittling somebody, but having a conversation of, hey, this is what happens as a person of color. This is what I've went through. um, you know, we probably did not get raised the same way. And yeah, that's kind of how it just got led into like, all of a sudden I'm in like getting interviewed with the New York Times, and I'm talking with all these people about race, and this woman would slide in my DMs and say, "Hey, I'm a white suburban lady. How do I spur change?" And it was like, if you hear your friends talking about a certain race and you're not around, then you need to be the one that says, hey, like that's not cool. Like we're not going to do that here. And I told people that, hey, you might lose some friends when you're going through these things. And I lost a couple of friends going through it, and people didn't agree with me. And I said, hey, at the end of the day, those people don't need to be your friends if they're not really, agreeing with, not like agreeing with your side, but hey, if I'm saying my opinion and they're saying, hey, your opinion is wrong, then it's like, okay, then that's when there's kind of like a problem. And so, it's still going on today. The links are in my Twitter and in my um, Instagram, and so you can go learn more about the plus one effect with Breaking Tea. And man, we sold over 15,000 shirts, and man, it was just one of the coolest initiatives I've ever been a part of, and it's still going now.
Where can people find that?
So you go on my Twitter or Instagram bio, and both of the links are just there. And click it, and you can read about what the plus one effect encompasses.
I love it, man. Well,
Yeah, yeah,
congrats on everything you've done baseball wise. Congrats on everything that you're doing off the field. And I appreciate you taking the time to talk today, man. It was good to catch up. We're going to have to connect in the future too and talk a little bit more. I'd like to talk more in depth about plus one effect and some of the different stuff going on right now. So
yeah, bro. I loved it. You just let me know. You just let me know. Today's a bit of a time crunch, but yeah. If you ever need anything else from me, let me know. If you want me to have me back on, and we can have a time where I have like a set hour to just like go at it, then I'm in.
that'd be awesome, man. Maybe something that could be cool in the future too is to get a group of guys and like talk about
Yeah,
something like this.
cool.
TK, man, I appreciate it. Always
Sure,
great
bro.
talking to you.
Yeah, dude. I got you.
All right, brother. Have a good day. I'll talk to you soon.
All right, man. We'll talk soon.
Later.
Later.